police brutality is nothing new. And I already knew, as soon as I seen them photos from him in the hospital, I already knew that they treated my brother like an animal. They beat on him like he was nothing. I don't have to watch the video to know that.
That was Tyre Nichols' older brother, Jamal Dupree. He went on to say that he felt guilty that he wasn't there to protect his younger brother. And that's where we are in America. Families carry more guilt than the police officers who perpetrate the crime. Like Dupree said, police brutality is nothing new, but what we as a society are actually going to do about it remains elusive. For Republicans, it's simple. They want more officers, more training, and more money.
We should be able to build a coalition around the common ground of, yes, we need more training on de-escalation. Yes, we need more resources and training on the duty to intervene. Yes, we need more grants. And yes, we need the best wearing the badge.
There is nobody that dislikes a bad cop more than good cops. So let's focus there. But I think what we saw in this video is that we need to take a hard look at training across this nation and make it standardized so that departments, whether you're in Middle America, the East or West Coast, we have the same basic training.
Not that simple. In fact, experts say simply increasing officer training will not end police violence. My next guest agrees. Katie Sponsler spent 11 years in the Air Force and 5 years as a law enforcement ranger with the National Park Service, where she attended her third police academy at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Georgia. This weekend, she tweeted some of what she learned in that training, like how she was told to yell, "Stop resisting," and drop your weapon after firing a gun, because bystanders will remember that you said it, and their memory will automatically reverse the order of events. She also noted that she was told that de-escalation techniques will get me and other officers killed. And as a smaller law enforcement officer, I was justified escalating my use of force faster than my colleagues because I was always in danger, so I should use it. She lost her job after questioning that training. And joining me now is Katie Sponsler, Air Force veteran, former National Park Ranger, and advocate for criminal justice reform. Katie, I saw your thread and thought, I have to talk to this lady. The common answer when we see something happen like what happened to Tyre Nichols is, we need more training. You seem to believe that is not true. Why?
I think that there's a huge cultural problem that's exposed, and the more that we go through this training, it doesn't make a difference if we don't address those underlying root in culture. And if we are going through de-escalation or crisis intervention training and then turning around in defensive tactics or survival, street survival or firearms training and saying that doesn't work, that's just required by law, we have to do that, it doesn't do any good. And so we have to address those issues that are at the root cause of the cultural problem with law enforcement.
The United States has more police violence against civilians than any similar country. We just outpace everyone else. United States, 1,096 Americans were killed by police last year. In Australia, it was 106. In Germany, it was 20. In the United Kingdom, it was 3. In Canada, it was 89. We just outpace everyone else in terms of police killings. One of the differences, including between us and the UK, is our police are armed. And also, they seem to also be armed with information about how to get clear of a criminal offense. Would I be correct in saying that police know, as you kind of hinted in your tweets, that if they just keep saying stop resisting, they are not going to get in trouble? If they just keep yelling commands, essentially accusing the person they're beating up of committing a crime, they know they're going to get off. And if they say, I thought I had a gun, I feared for my life, they know they're clear.
I do think that that's actually part of the standardized training curriculum right now, where we are actually, and we present it to law enforcement officers as we are teaching you how to let the public know what is going on, what is happening. But it's very clear that every drill, every scenario that you train on over and over again, you say the same things. And if you don't vocalize, if you don't verbalize those same things, regardless of what's going on, then you are, digging back on your training. And it is to be loud for the cameras, to make sure that everyone knows what you're doing. And there is an underlying thread of it's really so that when this goes to court, when you go to a review board, they're going to be able to say there are bystanders who witnessed this. It's always drop your weapon, regardless of what's in their hand.
Right.
It could be a cell phone, but you yell, drop your weapon. Yeah. So that kind of thing that is actually trained in drills is problematic. The
other thing that you hinted at is this mentality, this warrior mentality of seeing the public as always threatening to kill you and coming at the public, at least certain people in the public, particularly black and brown folks, as if they are deadly. But police kill far more people than ever hurt them. The statistics are just extremely lopsided. So police killed 1,096 people, and no one should be killed on either side of this, but it's 1,096 to 64. So it's not as if police are constantly being killed, but the training makes it seem like every encounter is a deadly one in theory, right?
Yes. And I think that we also we categorize our training. So we will put behavioral health training in one little category, and we do that for 6 hours of a 400-hour training, and then we'll have use of force training, and that will be a significantly larger course, but that we act like they're two separate things. You never pull your weapon out in a behavioral health training course, and you never use de-escalation training in a use of force scenario. They're trained completely on separate tracks. And I think that leads us to believe that, okay, well, this is what I do, is that use of force thing. Because my job, and that is one thing you will hear over and over again, and there are a number of police philosophers that we've taken into play here and use over and over again in the United States that are not used around the world. And my thread brought up Grossman in particular in his street survival courses, but that actually tell us that your job is to go home at night. Your job is, and it's taken away this idea of duty to care, and that our job is to protect the public.
Yeah, and therefore the training is not the answer. More money is not the answer. Complete reform is the answer. Katie Sponsler, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here this evening.